Hi friends, welcome to another episode of I Want to Know, the show dedicated to North Brantford, our community, and the people involved in it. I'm honored today to be joined by the Cadillac man, John Saville, who is a radio personality on 92.5, Country 92.5.
Country 92.5, the River 105.9.
Okay.
Also up there and do some part-time stuff at KISS 95.7. So
Excellent. And a wellness coach.
Yes.
And a DJ. And an event host. I mean, you are all over the place.
Yeah.
Even during the pandemic, you were all over the place, but in your house primarily.
Right, virtually too. And we just built the studio in the house too, so now we can do a lot of our shows right from there, which is nice.
And you don't have to travel.
No, especially with gas prices being the way they are.
Seriously. We're hopefully at the tail end of this COVID thing. But, the one thing I will miss about COVID is the lack of traffic.
Oh, I know.
Welcome back to reality.
Well, I went up to Hartford today to do a bunch of voiceover work too, because I had to be there with the client. And you're right, I couldn't believe it with the construction.
Yeah.
And things. I did not miss that at all.
Right. So that's the minor frustration in the grand scheme of things.
In the large scheme of the things, it's not a big deal. There are people out there that have real challenges. If we're dealing with a little bit of traffic, I think we can.
I'll take it.
We'll take it.
So you grew up in North Brantford?
Yes, I did. I grew up on West Pond Road and then Sea Hill Road up behind Cumberland Farms.
Okay.
And played for 40s Market baseball team. Yeah, back at the time. They had a baseball team when I was like...
Was 40s Market the IGA?
Oh, no, they were actually in North Brantford, down by North Brantford Town Hall.
Oh,
There was a 40s Market there at the time. That shows you how far back I go in this town, right? But I played in a Little League system, and my dad was a captain of the fire department up by Dairy Queen.
Okay.
The fire department there
way
back. Way back in the late 60s, I think.
Yeah, was that the only fire department in town, if you recall?
I think it was at the time.
All right, I wouldn't be surprised.
But I remember he used to dress me up in a fire outfit and had a little fire truck behind. We'd be in the parade with the firefighters down the center of North Brantford. So much fun. So many great memories in this town. I just love North Brantford.
What are your fondest memories of the town back then? I mean, because I got here in '99.
Right.
So I'm a newbie, I guess.
Yeah, the people.
Yeah.
Always love the people. They're real.
Yeah.
There's no phoniness in this town. People are hardworking. They're giving. If you need anything, they're there for you. That was my kind of recollection of living in North Brantford.
And it hasn't changed. That's why I love doing this, doing stuff in the community, because it is all about the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And regardless of politics, regardless of what we do, regardless if somebody needs something, people will be there for you.
That's the way it should be.
And that's community.
Right. That's the way it should be. Forget Republican, Democrat. It's about what can we do to help you.
Absolutely. So you were here for about 11 years or so, and then you moved to Guilford.
Yeah, Guilford back in '69.
Okay.
Yeah, 1869.
You're looking fantastic for 160.
It's all the Botox,
Technology.
That's right. But moved to Guilford. First person I met when I moved to Guilford was a guy named Mickey Curry, who was the drummer for Bryan Adams and Hall & Oates.
Oh, okay.
He was up in Guilford Lakes. He came right across, knocked on our door, welcomed us to Guilford, and he's the first guy I met when I moved to that town.
Okay.
And we become lifelong friends.
That's fantastic. So did you ever go to his shows or anything like that?
I did. I mean, he played in a lot of local shows at the time. Over at Toad's Place in New Haven, he was part of a band called the Scratch Band and some of the smaller bands in the area. He'd play the KC Halls and the fairs and do things like that. But
and then he went big.
He went big. He was all over those MTV videos back in the 80s when MTV actually played videos.
Yes, I remember that.
Remember those days?
I remember those days. Yep. Because before, that was, right after we had a total of 3 channels. Mm-hmm. Cable comes along, we have 100.
Right.
And MTV was what it was.
Yeah. Before they had 100, there was a song by Springsteen. Remember 55 channels and there's nothing on?
Right, exactly. Now
Except I Want to Know Now with Dan Armin.
There's one.
That's the one you want.
Can't miss. That's the one thing. It's informative. That's for sure.
Yep.
What did you go to college?
Yeah, I did. I went to Southern Connecticut State College at the time before it was university.
For mass communication? Mass
communication, journalism, minor.
How did you get into that? Like, what interested you about
Oh my God! Ever since I was a kid, Dan, I always had an interest and love for music, and I love people. So what I would do is, if my mom and dad told me I would interview people, even at 4, 5, 6 years old, I would have a pencil, and anybody that would come in the house who would listen, I would just take the pencil like a microphone and interview them.
And say, tell me about you.
About me as far as what?
I'm just saying that's what you would say to people. Just say, tell me
like you say, I want to know. I want to know.
What is
yeah, I always had a natural curiosity about people.
Yeah.
And I love that because so many times you and I both know people will say, well, how you doing? And then they don't stop and let you answer.
Right.
The whole P is I want to know, how are you? Pause and let that person talk.
And get an answer.
Because people want to be heard.
And everybody has a story.
Everybody has a story.
No matter what we're doing, everybody has a story. Everybody has a history.
I said that today when I had coffee with someone. I said, look in the coffee shop right here. Everybody here has something that needs to be heard. Some type of a talent, or maybe they're doing something for a nonprofit. Everybody here, like you said, and that's why later on this year I'll be starting up a podcast. And I want to do it basically just to go out there and just give people a forum to be heard.
I mean, I love, everybody has a story. And, and it brings out, other people's compassion.
Yes.
Compassion too. In life, we all have great triumphs and great pain. And there's always something we can learn from that.
There's one thing we all have in common. Everybody's got something in their life.
Yeah.
They're battling something. So we always say, be kind to people because you never know what battle they're going through. And every single person we know, I don't care if they have the big house, the big car, I don't care, they're going through something. So we just, like we were talking before we went on tonight, just be good to people.
Yeah.
Just be good to people.
Yep, I love that motto.
Oh, yeah, it's really not that hard.
It takes a lot more energy to be mean.
And we live in a world right now where people are just being divided.
There's no shortage of it.
There's no shortage of it. There's a lot of anger out there, and I don't want to buy into that.
Do you think the pandemic did that bring that out in people more as well, like the frustrations, what we've been through? A lot of people have passed away. A lot of people have been sick. A lot of people have been worried about their loved ones and friends.
I think it was going way back before that. It's been simmering in this country for a while.
Okay, yeah.
And I think, not to get political again about a lot of things, but I think a lot of politicians divide us because there's money to be made there.
Sure.
Or there's control, both parties.
Sure.
But I just think, if we just go out there and be transparent, be real with people, and just be good to people and not BS them and say what you mean, instead of trying to skirt around an issue, which a lot of people do, especially in the political arena, just be real with people.
Totally agreed. And be honest with people, and then you can have an honest exchange of ideas.
You can have a dialogue. The thing is, people are a lot smarter than a lot of these politicians give them credit for. People are very smart. They're very aware out there, and don't insult their intelligence.
Right. That's what makes people mad.
I know.
It's frustrating.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, look at somebody, look at them as an intelligent person, speak to them with respect, and I think, we've lost a lot of that respect nowadays. Let's just respect that person and sometimes agree to disagree and still be friends.
And we can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're all individuals, and we all have different experiences, as we were just saying, so we have different takes on things, but at least I understand where John's coming from on something and respect him and love him for it. And that's what makes the world go round in a healthy way.
And that's what I liked about you when I first met you, thanks to our mutual friend, Ken Engelman.
Ken Engelman.
Who's one of my favorite people, talking about a guy who's a community volunteer.
Absolutely. It's what he does.
It's exactly. And he brought us together, and he kept saying to me, John, you need to meet Dan. You guys are so similar in so many ways. You're involved with the community, and you agree to disagree. I mean, you can understand somebody else's point of view. And I'm so glad that he brought us together.
Yeah, me too. I'm so blessed, right?
Both, yeah, me too.
So you graduate college in mass communication, journalism, mass communication, and then what? How do you get into the industry?
I happened to be on a radio station. I went to the University of New Haven as well, because I wanted to be on their radio station. I mean, you have a beautiful studio here that you've done a great job with this place, but for a college radio station at the time, it looked like a professional station.
Wow.
Just like what you're doing here.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by it, and I really wanted to be on that station. It was 88.7 FM, still is.
I love that. I love their channel.
Exactly. And it was freeform radio, and I did a jazz show, I did a rock show, I did a country show, I did a classical show. I did any genre they wanted me to do because I love all kinds of music. And I was able to showcase that, and I was able to play what I wanted.
So that was my question: did you pick the music?
We did.
Okay.
I mean, back then, this is something a lot of people may not realize, or maybe they do. That a lot of corporate radio nowadays, you have no choice with what you play.
They play it, and you just voice in between.
It's all like playing the best testing records all over again. They do market research. What songs test the best to the majority of the people? But when I first started out back in the '80s, and 90s, we picked a lot of our music at that time. And when I worked at PLR and WAVZ at the time, 13 Waves, and KC101, we picked a lot of our music. Even if we had like a little card file with the songs, we can actually go 8, 9, 10 songs deep to find out what song mixed really well.
Right.
So you were an artist.
Right.
And the reason I got involved in the radio biz was because I loved music and I wanted to share it with the audience, like one big living room. But still, that said, I'm still grateful to be in the business after all these years, because a lot of my peers, probably 99% of them, are not in the business anymore. You have to learn to change with the times, pick your battle.
Adapt, I guess.
And be grateful.
Yeah.
Be grateful. It's still fun.
Right.
It's just different.
Right. You're doing what you love, but in a different way.
I love it. They still let me be a personality.
Yeah.
They still let me come on there and just talk, be who I am, and share my love and passion with the audience.
So back in UNH, when you're on the radio station and you did classical and then you did rock and then you did some other genre.
Jazz, R&B, hip hop,
if you're
whatever.
picking, now that puts a lot of pressure on you because, you know, I know, let's say jazz. I don't know rock. Mm-hmm. So then you have to go ahead and research a genre you're not familiar with. You know, I mean, it's a lot of learning then you're doing.
But the thing is,
research.
The thing is, I have a lot of passion for music. Like going
regardless of the genre.
Back to when I was growing up, my mom and dad were never musical snobs. You know, growing up, we'd have the Lawrence Welk show. Maybe some of the folks might be old enough to remember that. But on Johnny Cash's TV show, Glenn Campbell had a TV show. Then I loved Soul Train.
Soul Train was great.
You know, I loved American Bandstand.
Right.
You know, I loved Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Yeah.
All those. So, I mean, I just looked at music and I never ever said to myself, this is classical, this is jazz, this is polka, this is Bulgarian folk hymns.
Right.
I found something to love in everything.
Right.
And I've never been a musical snob. I just love music.
Right. You know, it takes you away.
It does.
Right?
It's
I mean,
escapism.
It puts me in a mood. Like, you know, whenever I'm working on the house or something like that, I put on, you know, my playlists, and it just, you know, it kind of is very cathartic.
Takes you away. Like, there's always music in our home.
Yeah, yeah.
Patty and I were saying the other day, we'd never be able to survive without music. Because we wake up, we do our gratitude exercises every day, we thank God for all of our blessings, and then we put the music on, and we just let it rock. You know, it's a different genre every day.
Wow. So, your first gig is at PLR? Or?
PLR was one of my first gigs. It was either PLR, KC101, 13 Waves back at the time. WAVZ was like the top 40 powerhouse in New Haven at the time.
Wow.
When AM was still king.
Okay.
Back in 1980, 81, 82, 83.
Okay. And what was your experience back then? The longest gig? You know.
Oh, it was great. I mean, I loved it. The excitement, the butterflies when I first went on the air.
Oh, I believe it. I feel it, and I'm just doing this.
Yeah, and it's still magic. No matter what I do, whether it be, like you said, a cable show or any kind of a local show,
yeah,
or a national show that we've been on, or I've done some of that, it's still fun because you're still talking to people. Whether it's one person or, you know, hundreds of thousands of people, you're still dealing with that one person. I always picture that one person I'm talking to.
Right, right. And what you're learning about them, how you're interacting with them.
And I always loved the personal appearance aspect of it. So COVID took that away a little bit.
Sure.
So I'm looking forward to getting back out again, going to concerts, doing more club stuff, because you learn so much from your audience. And just when you go out there, you look them in the eye, thank them for listening, ask them a little bit about them, what they do for a living, and get to know them. And even if you only have 15 or 20 seconds to look them in the eye and make a friend, I think that goes a long way.
Now you are really, really smooth now. You've been doing this a long time.
Smooth, did you hear that? I'm smooth.
Smooth, Cadillac.
Like
smooth.
Santana's song, Smooth. Yeah.
When you first started out, were you as smooth? Like, do you think you were a natural? Or did you have to work on it? Like after your show, did you say, oh, I messed that up? Or
I still do.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
All right, that makes me feel better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a hard time listening to myself. A lot of people will listen and say, man, you're so smooth, you sound great. Now, when I listen, I hear the flaws.
Right.
I could have made that sound a little bit better, you know, but that's all part of the process.
I mean, right. For me, I love doing this. This is my jam, as my daughter would say. But when I hear it afterwards, I'm like, oh man, that was horrible.
Yeah, well, again, we're overly critical of ourselves. I think most people, it's like when people look at themselves, a lot of times what's the first thing to do? They go for the flaw.
Right.
You know, and most people may not even notice that unless you mention it. So we just have to train our brain to just focus on what we did right and not what we think we did wrong.
And the fact that we did it was right
Yeah.
in and of itself.
Right. So just focus on that and realize you're doing something that's cheering people up, especially nowadays where they need that.
Sure.
They need that escape from whatever they're doing.
Sure.
And I take that very seriously, even in the radio biz. I know they're tuning into me to get away from all their challenges, and I'm always going to keep it family friendly. It's always going to be positive, a good vibe. I'm not going to slam anybody.
Right.
It's not who I am or my person. Enough people out there slamming people all the time. I just want to be able to do what I can to uplift.
Right. Well done. You do. I mean, every time we spend time together, either at Common Grounds or doing an event, you know, I've seen you. You're just an uplifting soul, and I value that so much. So then, tell me your progression then. So you're doing these gigs on PLR,
Right.
and then what's next here?
Then I went out and bought a sound system and started DJing events. You know, my program director at the time said, make sure you have like something else to lie back on, because in the radio biz, even back then,
It's unpredictable for sure.
exactly.
Right.
And so I went out and bought a sound system. I hustled around the town of Guilford. Anybody that would listen, I'll do a DJ gig for you. I'll do it for free, but if it works out, you got to, you know, book me for a couple more and pay me for it. And they said, sure, we'll give it a shot. So my first gig ever was for the Guilford Police Union, you know, over at the VFW Hall in Guilford at the time.
Sure.
And it was so much fun. My dad helped build me some lights. He built me a sign. At the time, it was the Big John Saville record shows. And it looked really, you know, kind of cheesy, but it worked.
Wow.
And I got out there and I was able to get all my records together at the time, the 45s and the albums. I had my milk crates full of albums.
Right.
And a suitcase full of 45s. And a lot of young people might be tuning in now. They know about vinyl because vinyl sales are up like 46% every
Coming
year
back.
over the past 10 years. So vinyl is big now, even with millennials. But back then I was playing the records and I saw the immediate reaction of a crowd dancing in front of me. And what music can do. And I'm thinking, man, this is cool. The adrenaline rush of seeing them dance to the music that I've been playing. And this is something I've been doing in my head for years since I was a kid. In my bedroom,
And it's coming together.
doing my Casey Kasem,
Yeah.
top 40, and then playing all these songs. And then my mom and dad would be dancing. I'd have my friends over from school come over. They'd be dancing to the tunes. And now I'm doing it for real. And at the time, for that gig, I was actually getting paid for it because I
Wow.
did a couple of freebies before that.
Right.
Very cool.
So you did that on the side. You're a busy man.
Yeah, loved it.
Tell me about some of your, you know, some of the worst experiences and some of the best when it comes to radio and DJing.
I think some of the worst experiences when you were playing some of those halls with the wooden floors.
Oh, yeah.
And all the records would skip. And then you get some people that were drunk and they purposely wanted to make the record skip. So I was
So that
praying.
becomes a game.
And so I ended up playing a lot of slow songs at the time. And then to say, hey, you know, Mr. DJ, can you rev it up a little bit? And I'm thinking, oh, no. Because all of a sudden that 3.5-minute song becomes a 2-second song because the needle goes right across the record.
Right.
You know, so that was pretty scary at the time. I don't have to worry about that. Now, everything being on the laptop,
Right,
on the computer,
sure.
we don't have to worry about any of that skipping
all
thing.
zip
but-
drive.
Yeah. But those are some of the memories which were a little bit freaky. You know, or if you played some of the clubs back in the early days, you know, you could deal with a lot of alcohol.
Right.
But you know,
And then anything goes.
yeah, but 99% of the things I do now are weddings. I love weddings. They're fun. People are a lot more responsible, it seems, now in their
Yeah.
behavior
Yeah.
because everybody has a cell phone. They're documenting
Everybody's
everything.
accountable now.
Exactly.
Any crazy stories you have from radio? Anything going bad?
I remember being on this small AM radio station one time, and I didn't realize that the microphone was up, and I couldn't get anything. I didn't think we were on the air.
Hot mic.
And I said a couple curse words, and I got myself in trouble. Yeah, at the time, and yeah, that was my last time on that radio station. I mean, luckily it was a small little 500-watt station, you know, and
So it didn't kill the career.
didn't kill the career.
Okay.
But I remember somebody calling me the next day saying, what do you say on the radio last night? And I said, I didn't think I was on the air.
Yeah.
And I was so young and inexperienced. I was 6 months into my career.
Wow, okay.
Oh, boy, but I mean, it's just, my heart was in my throat. I thought I really, you know, sabotaged myself.
Right, sure.
But I've learned a lot from all that.
Sure.
It's like there's no such thing as a bad experience if you learn something
It's a
from it.
learning experience.
And boy, that was a learning experience. And I made a lot of mistakes over the years.
Sure, you're human. Who
I
doesn't?
still make them multiple
Right.
times a day.
Sure. Okay, so we met initially through Ken Engelman because I'm a member of the community dining room in Brantford, and we're, I met him through them.
Yep.
And so you're involved with the community. Tell me what you do in the community, other than all these events, which are now going to be picking up. You're going to be really, really busy.
Oh, yeah.
But you're on like the board of the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah, Better Business Bureau.
The 4Bs.
Yeah, the board of directors for the Better Business Bureau. Guilford Rotary Club, I do a lot of work with them. As part of the JCs back in the day, I've donated my time, like to do a different charity, at least once a month for the past 30 years, whatever it may be. Like I try to find a different charity. A lot of them in person. Lately it's been, via Zoom.
Sure.
But as an MC for autism, for multiple sclerosis, for cystic fibrosis, with the Jerry Lewis telethons in the past, I've emceed a couple of those on TV and with radio. Country 92.5 in Hartford is like one of the biggest fundraisers in the country for St. Jude. And we shut down the radio station for 2 days every December.
Wow.
And just raise a boatload of money for St. Jude. So the whole thing is, I've always been a big believer in karma.
Right.
Go out there and just do good for people. And it's what we should do. Like I keep saying, just be good to people.
Right.
Because it comes back.
And because then that's the only room we have for it.
Right.
Right.
And if you do it without trying to get anything back, like, I always say to people, I mentor a lot of people, just go out there and do good things for people and don't expect anything back. And really, especially when you're going out there and helping people that can't do anything to further your career or do anything, just do it because it's the right thing to do.
Sure. We're inspirational. That's what that is. I mean, it's just honest and true.
Yeah.
And that attitude makes this world a better place. So what are you doing now? I mean, so you're doing this, most of your stuff from home, but you're going to be commuting up to Hartford.
I do up to Hartford occasionally because I like to see people up at the radio station. I'm a people person. I like to be around people.
Are people coming back?
Yeah, they're slowly coming back. The sales department and some of the management are coming back. But for a while, I was the only one going up there, along with maybe a couple of the other DJs, voice tracking our shows. Because a lot of our shows are not live.
Right.
We voice track a lot.
Right.
But the company likes that too, because it's a money-saving device as well. And the cool thing about voice tracking is you can do what you're going to do. You do a little bit on the air, listen back to it. I could have said that a whole lot better.
Yeah, and then redo it.
When you're doing it live, it's a little bit different. But now that I'm able to voice track my show, I think it sounds a lot better, a lot tighter.
With today's technology, what advice would you give to people that want to get into mass media, that want to get into radio or TV or journalism? What advice would you give to these young people?
Go find
like
someone.
Ryan, who's editing today.
Yeah, internships. Like I know that
make connections.
Ryan was saying he's doing some internships. Make connections. Go out there. Knock on doors. Make yourself available. Like when I first started out in the business, it was a whole different game, but still the principles are the same. Just go out there and let people know you're interested, show up, do whatever they want you to do.
Serve coffee.
Within reason.
Yeah.
Serve coffee, empty out the garbage.
Sure.
Whatever it may be. Go get, dinner or lunch or breakfast for somebody. And when you do show up in the morning, make sure you have coffee for people. Let them know. And people, and people like that. And when they like that and they like you, they're more apt to push for you. So the whole thing is like, just go out there and be a good person, be likable.
Right. Well, good advice. You, my friend, are very likable. I'm very happy you did this show with me today.
Oh, this is a blast.
And for the people of the town, you're a true blessing in the community. So thank you for everything you're doing.
All right, back at you, Dan. Thanks for all you do for this great town in North Brantford, and many blessings for you and your family.
Thank you. So that's a wrap, everybody. My name is Dan Armin, and this was another episode of I Want to Know. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a good day. Be safe.